Listen, so the new Batman movie's out, featuring The Flash, and it has the Justice League facing their biggest nemesis yet, a reboot. But hey, in terms of that race between Superman and The Flash, at least one made it to the finish line. Let me explain. So the movie begins with Barry getting a call from Alfred, who treats him like a butler, sending him on errands since the rest of the league is busy. Batman is out chasing another bomb. Aquaman is waiting for the post-credits in a sequel. Cyborg continues to get ignored by WB. And Superman can't show up because he's in Guatemala, making this problem for Barry Guatapeor. Flash runs in to save a hospital that's sinking faster than the DCEU as he continues to do his little ski run that I personally never really had a problem with. Mind you, I don't like that urine, yellow Mexico filter they put on him, but it always had a little groove to it as he was swinging his arms side to side. That said, it's only possible if he eats more than a teen heartthrob.
What do you mean the eating?
Constantly eating. Eating a lot, but also putting something in my mouth every 2 hours.
He ends up at a baby shower where he has to collect more children than Pennywise. And I just don't get how people were complaining about the Spider movie and not wanting to see it because it was animated, but they were cool with CGI babies. Even American Sniper had more self-respect than this. I just really don't get how a movie was postponed for so long and somehow the CGI still looks delayed. After microwaving an infant, he slabs the baby back ribs on a stretcher and goes to catch up with Batfleck, who's been grappling to stay in the suit. And they gave him the ugliest one to date. I'll take the bat nipples over this pantyhose year zero skin any day. They catch up to the bad guys as Wonder Woman shows up in a flash to save them and has a little cheeky moment with her lasso of truth. And it's crazy to think that in her last movie, it ended with Linda Carter making a Wonder Woman cameo, and now all Gal does are Wonder Woman cameos. But I like this little Easter egg of having her invisible jet in the background right there.
I'm Diana.
Hi, Barry, I'm Diana. That's not right.
There was also a mental health line that Barry tells a survivor about getting better help for her trauma, which has to be the most ironic line of the year. This dude blamed the Justice League for not being good at that part. Boy, neither is Warner. He returns back to work where he continues to get bullied into getting coffee, and he's even getting picked on by his coworkers and YouTubers, and even his love interest Iris has just been turned into a cloud chaser, which I feel wasn't the case in some of the other installments. If I was Kiersey, I would have pulled a Barbie Ferreira. Barry's dad also got recast before timelines were even altered, but it's still behind bars since they haven't been able to prove that he didn't kill his wife. That leads Barry to clean up more cam footage than Funko Pop critics in order to prove that his dad was at the store when the murder happened, and Bruce Wayne is even helping him by leaving a flash drive that says confidential right outside this man's door. I know Affleck has said that this is his last run, again, but it's crazy to think that this man has played Batman the most times on the big screen and never got his own solo movie. But I actually think that he delivers one of his best bat lines here, where he tells Barry, "Don't live your past, live your life.
Don't let your tragedy define you."
Then he gets in his $5 million Maybach and skirts away. That's when Barry goes out for a run and realizes he can enter this thing called the Speed Force that'll allow him to go back and alter things, specifically his canon event, which he puts extra emphasis on the can because he thinks it all has to do with soup. Boy, you're a hero. You can go stop your mama's killer. Also, I know it's the Chronobo, but someone must have been smoking a Chronobo if they think I'm going to repeat that more than twice. Barry then skims through BVS, the Ultimate Cut, Justice League, and the Snyder Cut until he ends up remixing Man of Steel, just like WB wanted, as he arrives right before the release of that movie after a dark being pushes him out of the Speed Force. With his palms sweaty, he arrives home to eat his mom's spaghetti, only to vomit when he sees there's a Barry there already.
Oh,
honestly, I think Barry Squared was the best part of the movie, to the point that I'd even say he's criminally good sometimes, because he had so much chemistry. They had so much chemistry. I really like the lesson of his older self becoming his own mentor and acknowledging how annoying he was in the previous movies, because the 18-year-old Barry is like Keanu if Bill and Ted had a baby, and now that dead mom Barry has to sit and see what we saw, man, he's ready to hit himself.
No, you don't have time.
Mom!
What are you doing? You're gonna tattle now?
After giving himself the LME on the past DC movies, they leave his room full of WB posters to go get zapped by lightning, since it just so happens to be the night that Barry got his powers. They set up the lab for them to get electrocuted, and Shazam, young B gets his powers. But older Barry loses his after getting barbecued, and yet the first thing young Ezra does is go out for a night on the town like they're on a Hawaii vacation. Somehow Barry remembers the night of his powers, but forgets that Zod's arrival was the next day, and it turns out he was like Momoa in Fast X and was just in the background the whole time. Also, young Barry completely forgets he had a date with Iris. They go back to his apartment to Google DC in hopes of finding another IP that can help them fix theirs, but everyone's gone. Because here, time isn't linear. It's whatever the studio needs it to be. And well, the studio always needs a Batman.
Let's get nuts.
The Flashes run over to Wayne Manor, where they meet
Batman.
or at least the stunt guy playing him with a mop on his head at first. After a 60-year-old Bruce finishes moving faster than his 30-year-old self, he sits down with us to explain the multiverse for what I believe is the 5th time in theaters. Like, I know people keep trying to break this down like it's primer, when really it's just primer for whatever's coming next. They use Cyborg's cousin, the Bat Computer, to locate Superman's whereabouts in this world, and it sends them to Russia, where the bad guys aren't keeping Superman, but his prima, Supergirl. Turns out she's another crypto refugee with a solar-powered jawline who was sent to take care of Calle before James Gunn took over.
Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
They make it back to the Batcave where Supergirl recharges, and Barry supercharges by Ben Franklining himself. Pretty much he's pulling a Frankenstein in order to get his powers back, which seems to be like the complete opposite of the movie's themes and what it is to be a hero. It's like the Mario movie telling kids that they can do anything, as long as they're on shrooms.
Mamma mia.
Bruce resuits and grabs a sidekick alongside his sidekicks just to get his side kicked when they go find Zod.
I will find him!
He does not. Instead, he gets halted by just this group of laid-off heroes who are already filming for their own archives. Carl tried to hit him with the new suit Who This, but Barry's new mask is so bad, he looked like a rebate hero.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
The big fight is then shot in the most boring place possible, and the gimmick is that they keep rewinding. Like, again, I don't know how effects age before the movie releases. The director had even talked about how this is supposed to be the way the Flash sees the world, but even through Bruce's view, Kara's view, my AMC seat's view, every perspective sits as well as a grimace shake, cause what the muck is this? They fight all of Zod's goons as they snap more necks than Clark Kent, until Zod stabs Supergirl and takes her powers, and even Bruce has to pull a bat kamikaze just to get dusted by the shield he tried to take down. When I tell you, this was the funniest and goofiest thing I've ever seen a Batman do. And then they do it again. Barry literally runs it back like that square button in the old Madden games, and he starts calling audibles only to rinse, wash, and repeat, since Barry's always too late to save the day. So now we're seeing CGI Batman get gutted by goons who even Superman couldn't take down, these two pulling some Kamehameha flashes, and then the director remembering he cast Faora. And then farewelling Faora. After playing Deathloop for a couple of minutes, they pull a Dormammu and re-enter the Flash Zone and reveal that Reverse Flash, that thing at the beginning, is really just young Barry who couldn't let go of his failure, thus making this one of those movies where we don't really have a villain on screen. Then we get to the cameos. Listen, I know Flash fans hate people joking about this being a Batman movie, but like, we saw more Waynes and Supes than we did Barrys, and considering the title and the timelines, like, that don't really make sense. They really should have Grant Austin a cameo. Ezra even starred in the CW. Now he's in videos that need a CW. I'm not even gonna get into the debate of what companies can or cannot do, because let's be honest, they're gonna do whatever they want anyways. But just judging on how they looked, like what they served, man, calling them lifeless isn't even scratching the surface. They really weakened at Bernie Reeves for a shot of him just staring. Like, I know people defend these movies like they think they're a part of the league, but what does this do for the story, the character, my sanity? Remember how they rolled out the Batmobile only to not use it? Man, they really dusted off the CG Reeves like he was a prop, man. Even the Nick Cage one, R.I.P. John Schnepp. Why'd y'all make him look so goofy? If Keaton aged, why not just let Cage appear in the suit in his age right now? Like, this man's such a big fan, he owned issue 1 of Action Comics. He even named his son Kal-El. So there's no reason why the now official footage looks worse than the test footage from the 90s. Now, I know that a lot of people would like pause their videos just to say, oh, we need to separate Ezra to focus on the themes of the movie, which I believe are that justice should be served for crimes. But I think what really is the themes is how, timelines and bringing up the past isn't really the way to fix things. No, that was the marketing for the movie. It's that Barry learns that even though he lost his mother, that dad should be left to... damn it.
I completely destroyed history.
New Barry offs himself to save main Barry, which is only crazy because he's about to go back to remove the can but like according to the noodle logic, isn't his timeline still intact? And so removing the can would just create another timeline. Plus, you're leaving that young Barry's mom to now be the one without a child, or should we not be going that deep? Because honestly, when you look at it, young Barry started this whole thing by pushing him out at the beginning. So really, we need to talk about Barry, because I think he did it. The screenwriter then types for Barry to go tell his dad to look up so that he can go back to the future and have his dad be released from prison once they have the tape proving his innocence, as he walks out to reveal that now it's George Clooney's Batman pulling up to see him. And look, I may not like the stock cameos they had, but I am not that boring, because Clooney's Bruce Wayne is easily the smoothest one of them all. Like, this man just oozes swagger, even if he had the worst Batman movie.
$7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
That said, James already said that he ain't gonna be the next Batman, so it really just seems like a gag joke so that they could trap the old DCEU in the Nespresso-verse here with Batman. Like, even Michael Keaton was teased as possibly being the ending Batman that appears, since he was going to be in Batgirl before that got cut for tax reasons. So poor Keaton is dying in every timeline. That BVS scene where Flash comes back to tease and warn him about evil Superman in the future really should have been Barry warning him not to take this role, because at this point they're kind of like picking and choosing who stays. So far it seems like they're treating Momoa's Aquaman like Logan, because Barry even tells him in the after credits that in every timeline it's been the same him, so like they don't want to recast him. But as for the rest of the League and Batfleck, they seem to have been lost in this multiverse, as the Snyderverse gets trapped in the Bat Nippleverse and all these Bruce Waynes get taken down by the thing they feared the most: another gun.